Всех приветствуем.
We welcome everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. We're happy that you were able to join us, to join another seminar dedicated to Blavatsky Doctrine. It is February. Everything continues. And the energy that was established in 2023 manifested in January 2024 and will continue for the whole year from month to month. This energy changes only the quality, the property, and the properties of this energy in February enable us to study the stanzas of the Sloka dedicated to fire, the fiery world, the fiery thought, admitting that endlessness, eternity, is not an abstract notion, but admitting that this endlessness gives the flow of the thought, and it is always an achievable level. What do I mean here? The purer the consciousness of a human being is, the purer the thought, the closer the human being can get to this thought. When can this thought become reachable? When it is understandable. This understanding is very close to attention. If we look at the history of humanity, we'll see that how many great scientists made discoveries just focusing their attention on a simple observation, and it enabled them to make a great discovery that was the source of learning for many, many years that are determined the flow, the course of evolution. Way too often we strive to something higher, not noticing details, and that slows us down on our path to the highest. Sloka 9 is the fiery thought. This is the endless place, the endless thought that can be achievable in its expression. It is expressed in many forms, aspects, properties, primarily the learning abilities of humans. Problems exist until we know how to solve the problems. Once we know how to solve the problem, there is no problem. We need the knowledge. If we know what is improving, what is in the foundation, and that is the knowledge, then we'll know how to solve the problem. But if we don't have this knowledge, we'll improve only lack of knowledge. The Secret Doctrine is the fiery work, just like the 14 books of Agni Yoga. They're given for this great epoch that has already changed the physical body of humans, the physical thoughts, the physical actions. There are many sensitive people today that see and feel the thinner plane, the thinner worlds. But a thinner world can be felt in by subconscious consciousness. The fiery world can be felt only with the pure and clear consciousness. This clear consciousness is in the foundation of these higher forces, powers that are the cause, the reason. The only thing that humans need to understand is the only mystery. There are many of those who are awakened and they're talking about various directions of thought, but there's only one mystery. It's accepting the unity of the whole life, and that's it. It is very simple, and at the same time, it takes many manifestations in this world. It's the whole cycle that is needed until we'll reach this moment of the existence when the whole puzzle can be seen as one picture, and you realize that you're part of this whole, and you have no right to be inattentive. You have no right to be irresponsible, and you have no right to choice. There is no choice at this point, because this is the joy of the higher state of this fiery thought that is flowing from the endlessness, and it becomes open, and the heart feels this clarity. It enables us to find happiness in every event, and this joy enables us to conquer, to find the victory. This is the symbol of 9, 3 times 9. This is the threefold of the spirit, the united, the unified state. This is the cause. Of course, today we have particular rays, nidanas. I congratulate everyone who was able to join us today. From the very beginning, we said good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and it's no coincidence because our participants are from the various places of the physical time, and we have the whole flow and the expectation of something new, and in this common flow we become united, and the physical time, it becomes of no importance. Today, right now, this boundary is destroyed. This is the speed of the thought that moves from the endlessness, and it can be expressed in the variety of things, and it is individual for all of us. Today we have the simultaneous translation. Polina Romancheva and Ksenia Persova, thank you for helping us with conveying all the thoughts to our foreign partners. What is the difference between the seminars and the online classes? We have given life to all the notions, and we can use these notions in our everyday life. But the way that these nodes are formed is important, because we can have this limitless of flow of the light, because this limitless of flow, limitless of consciousness, enables us to have the limitless movement of thought, and this gives us calm, trust. Today's Sloka, today's stanza, enables us to get a whole picture. We had many research, we had many quizzes, we received many questions, and we can sum all this up. This is the online class, and at online classes we try to give you food for thought, so that these key points will become the foundation for your own individual discoveries, research, and creative work. And now I'd like to give the floor to my colleague. He'll tell us about the concepts, about the shloka, the energy of today, the head of Theosophy School, Mr. Yari. I give the floor. Hello. Let's start with the thought of the day. The Pearl of the East by Blavatsky gives us the meditative thoughts for each day. The thought of this day is the following. Like oil, truth often flows on the surface of the lie. Like clear water, truth often underlies the seeming falsehood. That is a very relevant thought for the whole time that we can find ourselves in right now. We can feel this tension in the atmosphere, in the space. The lie can be seen on the surface, and truth is hidden in the depths of the life. And this depth of this bosom of life is what we are going to look at in Sloka 9, stanza 3. But to get close, to have a closer look at the stanza, we'll look at the combination of the cause and effect of nidanas, and we'll see how they can help us find our way in this complexity, of the times that go before the virgin matter. In this state, we can see how today, of the day of the black rooster, is getting us closer to that. This Nidana tells us that God teaches us, and this principle of the black roosters also symbolizes the beauty of the word or the cause of the sound. It is under the ray of Saturn, the green ray. The green ray symbolizes the synthetic property of all combinations and variations and forms in the life flow, all kinds of consciousness, all atoms, the original elements, the sub-elements, gases, everything is part of this synthesis. That is going to be taught to us by the black rooster. This week is the week of the white rooster, which expresses the end of the perception. What can we say about perception? The rooster is the symbol of Nidana, combines the perception of the consciousness through 6 senses, chat ayatan, 6 transcendental senses of human beings. The white rooster has no feelings, no senses. Which senses do I mean? The senses related to the harsh and physical world, because it transmitted to the higher plane of senses related to the spiritual world. In the constellation of Aquarius, in this spiritual world, this rooster tells us that Kama Manos loses its Kama Rupa, or the form. In this spiritual state, but has no physical senses, only the spiritual senses, it is able to be one with the voice of soundlessness. This white rooster is the symbol of the voice of soundlessness, of silence. Why? Because its word gives us impetus, that gives birth to the thought. That is the state that we're looking at. It observes everything because there was synthesis in it. The spiritual origin was manifested. It was founded by the black rooster in the golden medium of the wheel of the law. This is the spiritual cross of the wheel of time. And it is in the form of the female beginning. The rooster is there and Scorpio is just in front of it. And it symbolizes 2 points of the female origin, and the male origin is symbolized by white rooster and the white hare. They are opposite each other. These are 2 sectors united by one component. It has its electromagnetic potency. And just imagine everything that we're talking about right now is related to Sloka 9, stanza 3. The Kala chakra is the consequence of reading the Secret Doctrine and studying it. And we are right now trying to consider all these thoughts based on the principles that are given to us as the causes of the existence. The essence of human consciousness, first of all, creates the space and the time. The creation of space and time is the property of human consciousness. Each of us lives in the space that has his or her own property on time based on their understanding of good and bad, on responsibility and irresponsibility. All that is based on the free will. And the free will is expressed by roosters, nidanas. There are 5 of them on the circle of time. They have their own property of matter. They are substantial. In other words, the substances as the essence of things give birth to all kinds of forms. The substances are the content of any form. White rooster for us opens up new opportunities of the higher astral light, and we will spiritualize our own wishes. In other words, we just use our free will, heighten our vibrations with the energy of warmth, and the energy of warmth depends on the movement. And within this movement, we see the heating process.
This heat appears. So first of all, we increase the quality of our psychic energy, or the Fohat energy, that is sevenfold in itself. It's manifested in hierarchy of the power of the space, and the space is awakened in its more wider space. So in this sense, every person is capable by awakening its space to conquer time, and it's in his space, and to go to exit the circle the circle of time, in a great cycle of bettering your psyche. And this is an important point. We can say that the black rooster in his energy of Saturn, is the beginning of all the images of the future, of the potential that will become the phenomena of the wars of the divine plane. And this will allow us to enter the flow of eternity, of self-bettering, because the main task is to manifest your individuality. And God teaches us, if we cannot resonate with our individuality, with the light of Fohat, with the sun of the space of darkness, just imagine, we will become the light, and then we will learn with ease, because bearing this light will allow you to be clear, to see clearly, and to understand how the great truth shines. So this is what the rooster gives us, and what is important for us is the white rooster. He is under the ray of indigo, or the ray of our individuality. This is our individuality, which resonates with the voice of silence, because it's the same, but it's a conscious manifestation which used to be unconscious in the black rooster, meaning that the black rooster didn't have his own free will, because it wasn't manifested, and he didn't have understanding of what he's doing. And at the same time, when new schools were appearing, the school of Kalachakra in particular, in Kemerovo, the city in Russia, at this time we were living through the period of the black rooster. So we've lived through one part of the circle, but we didn't understand clearly of what the life was about, what was it filled with, and how the thought can bring us something. We didn't understand this at the time, but we had the idea, because we were inside the pyramid, and we were in the road mapped by the spirit, because it gave us the idea and the ambition to act and to understand the human nature. At this point, it wasn't possible, because it's only possible to understand when an opposite comes in, a parameter which is symbolized by the yellow color and by the body of Buddha. What is the body of Buddha? It in itself is the clarity that is necessary to reach individuality, to express it. It's necessary to acknowledge, and this possibility is within us. And the clarity then becomes the consequence of what is untold, the unmanifested, the something of the higher spirit, the higher senses. Suddenly this becomes very feasible, and this visibility and tangibility gives us clarity. And according to the female principle, the nature of things. When parameter, the fire parameter, the vector of the spirit of space, it touches the innocent space and awakens it. And in this space we have everything, but it's still innocent. The purity is undeniable. And then this purity, when some time goes, the 30 years of each principle, this innocence, this purity, via the parameter, the body of Buddha, we understand and we see, we feel even, and this becomes a reality to us. So this reality of the sense of things is the sense of everything. So the project that was innocent, pure matter has manifested itself in the first element. The element that by their lines, by their squares, has been shaped in order to manifest this possibility, this capability of knowledge, and ability to see clearly. So this is why Buddha has said that I see everything as other Buddhas. So now we understand what this means, what this is, but it takes 30 years more for this principle to expand. So every Nidana includes a parameter. The fire spirit is the black monkey, the black rooster, the blue boar, the fire mouse, the fire cow, the hare, the soul, the earth hare, and the white dragon, and the white snake. All 10 of these are reflected on the opposite side of the quill of Kala chakra, and each of them has their own 30 years. So to reach the acknowledgement, you have to manifest in yourself this ability of the body of Buddha, the ability to see things clearly, to see them for what they are, their essence. So, but it takes time. Now let's talk about the white rooster in the space of parameter, the purple space that you can see, which symbolizes the common goal. It's a very important thing, because once we gain the ability to understand, then we can manifest this reason of being through our actions. On the opposite side, we see the energy, that the male energy in the Leo and Cancer constellations, which is situated in the parameter of heart, those two vectors of space, which symbolize the moon, and the space that symbolizes Jupiter, the blue energy. They include free will and action. And action is in the parameter of space, and the will is in the parameter of heart. So the heart needs to be elevated and taught so that the will is organized in order to act on your desires according to the necessity of things. But I think we have spoken enough about this. But the month of the blue Taurus, you know, it speaks about the realization of your consciousness. The blue Taurus is under the ray of Mars. It's a very powerful energy, but we know that it's the year of the blue dragon, which is also situated under the energy of Mars. So the month is amplified by the year, and it gives you the energy to modify your consciousness, to gain wisdom, because the blue color symbolizes the idea, the thought, and the dragon symbolizes wisdom. So the wisdom of the consciousness is apparent in the spirit as the realization through the Taurus, the blue Taurus, which also happens in the spirit. So this is controlled by the Nidana of Mars. Now I want to read you the Sloka 9 stanza 3, and Evgenia Mikhailovna will speak about it in length a bit later, about the blue dragon, the year of the wisdom of the mind, and the white dragon that shows us the whole era is a completed wisdom, and it will come about when the blue dragon gives us the opportunity to conquer our thoughts synthetically and consciously. This is very important. And then the sense of beauty in a man will drive him, and it will drive him, and this is being controlled by the monkey, the blue monkey, in the Aquarius constellation. Because now we're passing to the subtle feelings. We turn on our sense of hearing, touch, and how we understand the world through our hearts. And the heart can be opened only through love. And so, stanza 3, Sloka 9, light is a cold flame. Sloka 9, stanza, sorry. Light is a cold flame, and flame is fire. And fire gives birth to heat, producing water, the water of life in the Great Mother. Yes, the Great Mother is what we're going to talk about in this seminar. Thank you. Thank you very much for this inspirational speech, which can be perceived as an interview, like the higher interview. When you are ready to see the better in things, and you want to hear the best things, when you can perceive and understand this best. And this is when this higher interview happens. And this is how our spiritual energy works, because it's driven by the power of the acting thought. And how each time during our seminars, during the year and the era, the months that go under the same nidanas, we are able to find and to express different relations, new ideas, new thoughts that connect like a thread our understanding in one single picture. So to have this ability to interview, it can be revealed only through a pure consciousness, because if you don't have it yet, you can't relate and connect things to each other, because you have doubts and you have holes in your aura. And to heal these holes, you should use these waves which come to you through this higher interview. That's why it's so important. And as we have mentioned, the great nidanas of logos, which are manifested through the white and black roosters, those two energies have revealed this mosaic and have given the power to our thoughts. And I think this is how the psychic energy works, because it opens the space so that limitless thought can go without stop. And we, like an instrument, like a fine-tuned instrument that can understand these high vibrations, when we get rid of our doubts, of dividing opinions, when we are open to something new. And you should be always open to perceive something new. Because when does this happen? Not when you run from one idea to the other. No, but when you have a basis, a solid base, when you have the knowledge and you know how to better yourself. And when you have the solid base, only then can you open yourself to this limitless idea. Because you'll be able to perceive it in any forms with a clear mind, and you'll be able to tie all this information together, even if you have any opposite ideas, and there won't be any division anymore. So this is the great mystery that every man should understand, to understand this life. So this knowledge, which is revealed in the Secret Doctrine, because only Helena Petrovna Blavatsky knew, they are the true source of knowledge for our time, where the subtle plane, the arrow of the Aquarius, is approaching to open our subtle senses. And it's important to have clarity and the subtle feelings, because to be able to connect all of the parts of the puzzle, to resolve issues in your own life, you need to have the knowledge to do that. And so the three stanzas of the first book of the Secret Doctrine give us this basis. This is why they are so great. And if you don't learn how to apply these three stanzas, then the next forms, the fourth, fifth, sixth stanzas, that are telling about the earth that is being born. And the second book, which is dedicated to the man, because on the earth, this realm of nature and of powers of nature, they're talking about the psychology of humans, about their physiology, about how this all is, everything is connected. If you don't understand the first stanzas, you won't understand the ones that will follow. So the stanza 1, 3, 2, and 3 are the base that we need for the upcoming seminars. And you know what happens next? When the teachers of wisdom, they tell us that why have we decided that, you and me, why do we expect that the eternity, why do we expect that they will wait for us for eternity? Because they don't have the time to wait for us eternally. We have come here to help you accelerate this move, to give you the key of acceleration. And if you take this key, then you'll understand how to resolve all of these problems and difficulties. Only attention, focus, to details. But this puzzle will be resolved only by the limitless thought. So a clear mind gives you more energy and speed to understand. So there is no book that a person cannot love, because a clear mind gives you the ability to love. And when your mind is clouded by something, or when your eyes are closed, when your mind is dusted, it's not clear, it's not clean. So the knowledge, the fiery thoughts that give you a vector, give you the ability to go into combat for the betterment of yourself and to combat this. So the love is the key that will help you resolve all problems. So 3 stanzas of the first book of the Secret Doctrine give us an overview and show us this love, and Agni Yoga also reveals love in all of its beauty. And the 14 books of Agni Yoga is 7 and 7, the sevenfold. So two opposites united in one. When a person in his higher manas removes this cloud of vision, the 14 books of Agni Yoga were given to us to help clear our minds.
My apologies for my lengthy speech, because Vladimir Vasilyevich has inspired me to open up and discover for myself new properties of these nidanas. We often receive questions and people keep asking why Vladimir Yari is always telling us every time about one and the same nidanas. Well, maybe he is talking about one and the same nidanas, but every time there is a new facet appearing that changes the whole understanding, the whole perception, and we need to get rid of this dust in our brain, to use the clear consciousness to see the new, to get inspired and to get this joy, because this joy is the foundation of our inner world. The external world changes as a result. And it is terrible to express lack of gratitude to those who share this knowledge, because gratitude is the best to show, because there are people who are happy to share, and this is the highest mystery. Now, stanza 3, Sloka 9. Together, we'll try to have a look and go through all the major points. Light is a cold flame, and flame is fire, and fire gives birth to heat, producing water, the water of life in the great mana. The notions and concepts in the poems of Dzyan and Blavatsky's comments cannot be understood until they form in a person. Without a form, we won't be able to understand and get closer to non-forms. And therefore, the law of identity and correspondence is one of the fundamental provisions of the Secret Doctrine. Each poem has the word Dzyan, and it has the deepest symbolism. And for this deeper symbolism to become understandable and applicable to practical life, it's necessary to reveal the symbols. How do they reveal themselves? To begin with, one must accept, trust, and comprehend them. At first, we accept, and then the trust appears, and only then we can comprehend. And then we get admired by the beauty and this great harmony. This is how freedom appears. The mind becomes plastic and active, and the heart becomes the sort of inspiration that guides to knowledge. The comprehension and interaction of all the diversity that opens up in the world of symbolism must certainly find ways to action and application. The purer the motives, the purer the consciousness, and the greater the comprehension and unification of diversity into a single state. In every moment of a weekday, we will always find joy. The plasticity of consciousness gives this quality. Find joy and inspiration in any event. The reason is trust. If at least once a person has experienced this complete trust, then He'll always have a tool, a sword and a shield, to win. The sword will cut off the lower, and the shield will approach the higher and raise the consciousness. It's not the shield that protects, but the hand holding and guiding it. The hand of a man. Any facet of the opening symbolism in an instant changes the entire structure of human bodies, reuniting them into a single state of harmony of the world. Any facet. And in this state, there is no limitation. It leads to infinity. This is the effect of open symbolism. And today we'll try to draw a correspondence between non-form and form, the unspoken and what we can hear, see, and understand. And this understanding transforms a human being. And we become new. And a new understanding is the assimilation of new elements, compounds, and the Secret Doctrine provides absolutely fundamental possibilities for understanding the structure of the world. If this foundation becomes understandable, applicable for each of us, a person can easily answer any question, both to oneself and to everyone else. The first key point, for in these answers there is a free movement of thought that knows the laws. This is the key thought. We need to know the laws. Only then we'll have the free movement of thought. So stanza Dhyan 3, Shloka 9, will help us, like all previous stanzas and shlokas, to identify the sequence, correlation, and convey clarity and understanding of the laws individually. The key point, for as soon as the general or unified law is understood and accepted, then it begins to act in the life of each day, acting precisely as an individual manifestation. This means consciousness has become the carrier of this law. What are the key words of Shloka 9? Light, flame, and fire. They can reveal the clear meaning of these symbols. But Blavatsky says, but who knows the language of symbols, the sacred language of these words? Light, flame, fire. The language of these sacred words, these powerful symbols, is hidden because it's not knowable. But one who has come to know his inner nature has discovered the symbols and knows the hidden, unspoken language. So let's try to identify the occult meaning of these words, or the intrinsic meaning. The energy that gives us the movement is born in the cosmic state. Before that, it didn't exist. What does it mean? It means that the primary atom causes matter to move. The primary atom is the transforming force, and then what is disconnected matter? The disconnected matter is called cold because this is primary atom, and it hasn't yet produced the cosmic heat. And the cosmos, in the sense of disconnected matter, didn't exist because the cosmos exists only when the first thought is born, which becomes the cosmos. As a result, it turns out that the disconnected matter cannot be alive. That is why it's cold. It means that there is something that gives life to matter, revealing its hidden warmth. What can that be? If the disconnected matter is cold and has no moving, living force, it means that after the matter ceases to be disconnected, the heat appears. The matter must gather into a single state all that is disconnected in order for essence to appear. Since essence is unity, and only then is this unity ready to manifest. The source of essence is the primordial matter. What is it like? The primordial matter, eternal and coexistent with space, which has neither beginning nor end, being neither warm nor cold, but has a special nature inherent in it. the comments say. Then we can raise the question, what is this nature inherent in matter? The clear consciousness opens up the symbols. And here's the answer. This is the essence of matter, essence that exists independently of all other things, from a grain of sand to God. An essence cannot be dependent, since it's a transforming link from eternal to periodic. So according to this action, in any form of periodic occurrence, which is caused by each incarnation of a person, their actions, their life, in the present moment of any event, this transfer is possible. What does essence convey? The next question that we raise before ourselves. The essence conveys on an understanding of the unity of the worlds, a causal relationship, recognition of the eternal and periodic. It conveys freedom of thought. If that is so, then for each such transmission, we need a conductor, and the conductor of the essence of matter is man. A person who has accepted and learned the one law is able to convey unity in diversity and diversity in unity. That's how we understand the nature inherent in matter is birth. So birth is the conductor of essence. This is how the law of nature is implemented. So the cosmos, nature, and man are connected by this essence. As soon as a person's ability to create and think independently is born, then there are no barriers to the realization or formation of thought. By materializing thought in this dense world is not easy. It gives how does this fetus and warmth appear? Once they appear, what happens? The key point, its primary nature becomes dual. In order for birth to take place, a synthesis of two opposing forces is necessary. Something unified must become dual for some period of time. For what? For the original one to become a substance for the beginning. The second point, the original becomes the beginning. As soon as there is a beginning, there will be movement of life. The one becomes a variety. Here is the third point, the eternal becomes periods. It is the foundation, the basis of which is essence. Light, a single state of primordial matter, becomes cold flame or intelligent essence. Then it becomes fire or mind in motion, and moving fire generates heat. And Blavatsky notices heat and cold are relative qualities, properties, and belong to the realm of manifested worlds, which all originate from the manifested highly, called the cold maiden, in its absolutely latent aspect, on the one hand, and the mother on the other, when it's awakened to life. Hence the question, why heat and cold are relative properties? Heat is relative in that it can be compared to cold because it contains cold or becomes cold. Similarly, cold contains heat or becomes it, and therefore it's relative. The key point, the manifested world contains heat and cold, since there's a comparative aspect. If there were no cold, there would be nothing to compare the heat with. Just as heat would be impossible to distinguish if there were no cold, the one becomes a separate by this comparative aspect. The absolute aspect of any concept is present until the form or the future human manifests. As soon as evolution begins, the absolute latent aspect disappears, and the absolute in its reflection starts moving. It becomes active, and that's how it gives birth to the matter. Why is light both a flame and a fire at the same time? Because light contains both flame and fire as a great potentiality. These are just different phases of the manifestation of light. They change the property, and the light becomes fire, then it becomes warmth, then moisture, and then life. In the very beginning of Dhyan, Blavatsky calls light the cold fire. Light is a cold flame. How can this be? Why light is a cold flame of fire? The evolution demands some kind of transformation. What kind of transformation? These are transformations into powers or cognitive abilities of man, or rather into their source. What's the source of the powers of learning in man? These are the forces of the Shakti. Shakti is called the great universal infinite divine energy, which is the creative and executive force of the ocean of the divine consciousness. Of course, to understand this thought, we'll need to look at Kala Chakra to find some corresponding ideas. The cold maiden is the Virgo sector, a sector on Kala Chakra. It's cold until a person possesses the powers of Shakti. As soon as one begins to possess them, becomes wise, and black dragon becomes is the Para Shakti, the black snake. Jnana Shakti is a cycle of intelligent actions that begins, and the blue horse, the muscles of thought, or the musculature of thought giving power to movement. It is strengthened, and thought is kept pure. Pure thought is the blue ghost, Kriya Shakti, the power of thought. And red monkey, Aum or Tridasha, gives the power of adjustment between the inner and the outer. It's the power of the force of attraction and repulsion, because life is already appearing. Red rooster rejoices at the victory of the movement. The key point: light is a cold flame until the power of life, of fire, begins to move. Ancient Western cosmogonic myths claim that in the very beginning, a fertile silt, mother, or highly illus crawled out. Crawling out, the world serpent marked the place of manifested life. The world was created by a circle that was started by serpent. It began to create the world, which is matter, or the Great Mother. Thus, the primordial matter, before it emerges from the never manifested plane and awakens to the thrill of action under the impulse of Fohat, is only a cold radiance. It's colorless, having neither form nor taste, and devoid of any quality or aspect. But then it looks strange. If there are planes that are never manifested, then how is matter manifested? Matter is manifested as a mirror image, and thus, in this reflection, emanates a phenomenal aspect of the universe. The matter manifests itself through its essence. The essence of matter is spirit, or spirit can manifest itself only in matter. There's no spirit outside of matter. There appears a thrill. The key point, the matter is manifested by the thrill. This is Fohat's first impulse. The next key point, another discovery. It appears from a plane that had never been manifested. This is the first 7-ray star, a cold radiance, colorless, and accordingly without form, or not manifested. The absolute planes never manifest, the 3 planes of the spirit outside of forms. They manifest through matter because spirit can manifest only matter, and then both qualities and aspects will appear. In other words, the thrill will appear. The first tremor of matter, of the plane of mind and creativity, where Fohat gave the first impulse. And what is the manifestation of this first tremor? It outlined the 5 first steps that can correspond to the 5 senses of the future human, or the 5 elements. The 5 senses compile a whole system that, thanks to its receptors, provide the receipt and primary analysis of information from the outside world and from the other organs of the body itself. That is, from the external environment and the internal environment of the body. The information received by the human brain from the sensory organs form a person's perception of himself and the world around him. That is how the human being receives the information.
Eyes, vision, which is the element of fire. Ears, hearing, the element of water. Skin, touch, the element of air. Tongue, your taste sense, the element of earth. And nose, sense of smell, the element of ether. The central nervous system of a person receives information, analyzes it, identifies, and a response signal arises, which is being transmitted along the nerves to the appropriate organs, and then the feelings arise. So feelings need to be refined or purified. They need to become reasonable. That is, an incandescent fire or the fire of reason should change the feelings or give them an incentive to change. And just as at the beginning of evolution, the creation of the universe as an active mind, light becomes a cold flame. A flame becomes fire, fire gives birth to heat, and heat produces water, which becomes life of matter. What happens? Matter begins to give birth. So a person, in order to give birth to a thought, must become reasonable, and for this warmth must appear. It appears in the most independent organ, in the heart.